So watch me transform this light skin beauty from start to finish. If this is what you'd like to see, keep on watching. So please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So first thing first, I'm going to be using my wipe to clean up the face in order to remove dirt and oil on the face. Then I went ahead using my Kiss Beauty Spray to hydrate the skin, to give the skin a little bit of hydration. Then I dried it up before moving on to moisturizer. For moisturizer, I'm going to be using my Cetaphil moisturizer to moisturize the face. So moisturizing the face is very important in your skin prep routine. So do not skip moisturizing the face before applying your primer. So while doing your skin prep, make sure every product you apply dries up before moving on to the next product. So after that, I'm going to be using my Omaricode Hydrating Primer on her face. My model has a dry skin, that is why I am using a hydrating primer. After applying it, I'm going to be drying it up. Make sure it dries up very well. Then I'm going to be using this Kiss Beauty primer. This primer is going to give the makeup a very good base to sit on. So after applying the primer, you need to allow it to sit into the skin before you move on to your foundation. For foundation, I'm going to be using my Avour foundation in the shade 05. So I'm making use of my flat brush to apply it all over the face before blending it into the skin. Then I went ahead to spread the face for easy blending before using my damp beauty sponge to blend the foundation into the skin. So make sure you use a damp beauty sponge, a soft and damp beauty sponge. This would help you blend in the foundation without stress. And after blending in the foundation, I'm going to be locking it up with the same Kiss Beauty. Then I dried it up. This would help the foundation to stay intact. So after drying it, moving on to contour, I'm going to be using this L'Oreal foundation in the shade C7 to contour the face. So if you want to contour your face, it's best to use a shade that is 2 to 3 shades darker than the skin to contour the face. So if you want your contour to be well pronounced, you can use a foundation or concealer that is 3 shades darker than the skin to contour the face. But if you want a mild contour, you can use two shades darker than the skin. So after contouring, I'm going to be applying cream blush. So I'm just going to mix these 2 shades from my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. Then I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend. So if you don't have a cream blush, you can skip applying your cream blush and go ahead with your powdery blush. But you can only apply the powdery blush when you're done setting the face. So cream blush isn't a must. If you don't have it, it's not a problem. You can make use of your powdery blush. So after blending, next thing is to highlight the face. I'm going to be using this Milani concealer in the shade 145 to highlight the face, and you only apply the concealer on the places you want the face to be highlighted. So while highlighting the face, a little concealer goes a long way. Avoid packing too much concealer on the face. If not, you have issues with blending. And after highlighting, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So I had to adjust the band on her hair in order to blend in to that place. So after blending in the concealer, I'm going to be contouring the nose with the same shade I used in contouring the face. So I'm using my flat brush to apply. Then I went ahead using my beauty sponge to blend to avoid any harsh lines. So can you see how the skin work is already looking? So next is to set the concealer with my Merak setting powder in the shade Ginger. But before setting, I went back using my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath the eyes to avoid creasing. Then I went ahead to set using my beauty sponge. So when you take your setting powder, make sure you dust it off. Don't pack too much setting powder. Dust it off before setting, like before placing it, before setting. With that, you won't have a cakey look. So dust it, then set. So after setting the concealer, next is to set the rest of the face. I'm going to be using this shade from my Becharm powder palette to set the rest of the face. So if you want to set the rest of the face, make sure you use the exact shade of your skin color to set the rest of the face. Do not use a shade lighter or darker. Make sure it matches with your skin. So after setting the rest of the face, moving on to dry contouring, which is low light contouring, I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So if you're a beginner and you don't have any concealer or foundation for your cream contouring, you can skip that part and do your dry contouring. As long as you apply it properly, the most important thing is how you apply and blend. So after contouring the face, next is to contour the nose with the same shade I used in contouring the face. After that, I'm going to be using this light shade from the same powder palette on the places I highlighted just to give it more coverage. So after that, I'm going to be applying my powdery blush. I'm going to be using this Tara blush palette. I'm just going to take one of the shades and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. So if you have questions, you can leave it in the comment section. I will definitely answer. So after that, I'm going to be using my fluffy brush to blend everything together. Then next, I'm going to be setting the face. This would help to reduce the powder effect and also help the products that I applied to sit properly into the skin. Then after that, I'm going to be using my fan to dry it up immediately. So after drying it, next thing is to bake. I'm going to be baking with the same setting powder I used in setting the face to bake the face. So moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows, and I went ahead using my brow tongue to lay the brows nicely. So after that, I'm going to be using my Karite gel liner, the brown shade, and my angled brush to outline her brows, following the shape of her brows. So after drying the brows, I'm going to be brushing it with my spoolie brush. The next is to highlight the brows. I'm going to be using the same concealer I used in highlighting the face to highlight the brows. Then I went ahead to blend the concealer immediately so that it doesn't get dry and look tacky. So next, I'm going to be doing the other brows following the same method. So next is to highlight the top of the brows. I used the same foundation I used on her face to highlight the top of the brows. I do not use the concealer I used underneath the brows to highlight the top of the brows so that it doesn't look too bright and dirty. So after that, I'm going to be setting the concealer. I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to set the concealer. So moving on to eyeshadow, before you apply your eyeshadow, you need an eyeshadow base. It's either use an eyeshadow primer or concealer as your base. But I'm using my V&P eyeshadow base to prime her lid. So after priming the lid, moving on to eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this shade here from my Blossom Eyeshadow palette and apply it on the outer corner of her lid, then blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. So how you blend your foundation will determine the outcome, so take your time to blend. Do not be in a hurry to blend. So after that, I'm going to be doing the other eyes following the same method. So next, I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to blend out the eyeshadow. So after that, I went back with the eyeshadow blending brush to blend again. So next I'm going to be using this other shade from the same eyeshadow palette and apply it on the outer corner, then gently blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. So I went back using that blending brush I used to apply the first eyeshadow. I went back using it to blend everything together. So next I'm going to be adding this darker shade from the same eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be applying it on the outer corner, then gently blend it towards the inner corner of her lid. Then I went back using that eyeshadow blending brush to blend again. So after that I did the other eyes following the same method. So next I'm going to be using that brush I used in applying the eyeshadow base. I went back using the brush to blend the inner corner of her lid. So after that I'm going to be adding some setting powder on the outer corner of her lid to define the lid. So next I'm going to be using this shade here from my Beach Wave eyeshadow palette and apply it on the inner corner of her lid. So after applying this eyeshadow, I went back to blend using my blending brush. So next I'm going to be using my Karite gel liner, the black shade, and my angled brush to line her upper and lower lash line. So next I'm going to be prepping her natural lashes with my Zaron mascara in order to give it volume. So after that I'm going to be wearing her these lashes from Chi Lashes. So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using this shade from my Blossom lip palette to outline her lip. So while outlining her lip, I told my girl to help me press the lashes. Then after that, I dusted off the excess fallout from the eyes. Then I went ahead with this peach color in the middle just to brighten up the lip. So after that, I'm going to be applying some gloss. So at this point I was trying to do finishing touches like blending some areas, then touching the nose as well so that it will be well pronounced. So I went ahead applying more blush on her cheekbone because I really want the blush to pop very well. So after that I used my powder brush to blend everything together. So next I'm going to be prepping her lower lashes with my Zaron mascara. So after that I'm going to be setting the face with my Kiss Beauty spray. While setting the face, cover the eyeshadow so that the setting spray doesn't ruin it. After setting, I'm going to be drying it using my fan. After that, moving on to highlight, I'm going to be using this Maivels glow dust on her face. This is going to help the face to glow. So after that, I'm going to be setting the face for the last time. So after setting the face, I'm going to let it dry properly into the skin. And this is the finished look, guys. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.